All right, real briefly and a minimal amount of judgment because I have not researched this case as thoroughly as I have other ones that I've talked about. But okay, so we got this cop, Joseph, I always want to say Menash, it's Mensa. Joseph Mensa, he's a Wauwatosa cop, and the kicker, the asterisk here is he's black. But he shot 3 people in the course of 14 years. All 3 were shot within the last 5 years. I'm not sure how that the media keeps adding all 3 were shot in the last 5 years is relevant. I think it's more important that he's worked 14 years and shot only 3 people. He shot this kid, Alvin Cole. This kid was 17 years old. Here's what I found out about him. Some of this I've double verified, some of it I haven't though. But I'm just going to tell you what this was. Part of this was printed in a very liberal local publication. So if they're not swaying it, it really must be verifiable. He's 17 years old, he already had a felony. Think about what that means. That means that he was already tried as an adult for something and they actually gave him a big boy charge. In any event, he was not allowed to have a gun, and he was 17. 17, he had a gun, he was in the mall. None of that really even matters as much as this. He was in the mall, he flashed his gun at somebody to be threatening. That's called brandishing. When you brandish your weapon, you have to have a reason. The general principle of firearm safety and of self-defense is that if you brandish your weapon, you use your weapon. You never take it out unless you are about to use it. Either way, took out the weapon. The security guards at this mall end up chasing him, and as they are chasing him out the door, the police arrive. Mensa's in the lead of the police. A single gunshot goes off. What sounds like happened is the kid was trying to point the gun, aimed it ineptly, and shot himself in the arm, and then hit the ground. And at the same time, the police did not know this. I don't think this kid knew this when this happened. At the same time he did that, he hit the magazine eject button. Therefore, the weapon was incapable of firing any more rounds. But this was at night. After hearing the shot and seeing him hit the ground, as Mensa got up to him, his gun was aimed at Mensa, at the cop, so the cop shot him. So the family wanted this cop to be tried for murder, and they also wanted this cop to be fired. So the DA, who does not like cops, does not generally take cops back, said you can't charge him because it's not going to stick. And second, they want the city of Wauwatosa, where he's from, to actively fire him. It doesn't really matter. Another cop explained this to me. I was asked a cop about this that I saw sitting on the street, and it's just a general rule. They said, nowadays, if you shoot somebody, your career is over. It's just that simple. There's no way after you shoot somebody that you can really return duty in the current climate. Unless it's a white person or maybe a Mexican. But if you shoot a black person, even being a black cop, as this guy was, your career is over. You have to go do something else. The department that you work for is not going to let you come back. A neighboring community is not going to let you work there. You're pretty much done. They want him fired almost as like a symbol showing that they're, admitting guilt or saying that he's not a good cop and he's not fit. And they have not made a decision on whether or not they're going to fire him, but in all practical purposes, what I'm saying is this cop has basically explained to me there's no way that you can really continue to be a cop after something like this happens. Not anywhere. Certainly not in the same county or even state, and probably not anywhere in the country, because who's going to hire you knowing that this happened? Because it's going to get out. It's just, it does not matter how justified the shooting was. So I'm not sure why the family is going so hardcore for him to get fired, unless it has something to do with just wanting to make sure his reputation is ruined, or because they want to be set up for a lawsuit. Because it seems that the bigger point would have been, was this justifiable shoot or not? And that is kind of, because after it happened, they gave a press release. The mother talked for a little bit. Then the sister talked. She was obviously very upset. Then the lawyer talked. Afterwards, that was at the downtown courthouse, and they went downtown instead of staying in Tosa. Tosa is a suburb, so they went downtown Milwaukee, and because I guess that's how the OISs are handled, the district attorney does it down there. After that happened, then they decided to, a group of about 50 of the 150 that were down there decided to go on the freeway. So they arrested 5 or 6 people, something like that. I don't know, a couple of people. That ended. Then they walked. There were 3 groups. There was a group in Wauwatosa, which is a suburb. There was a group in Greenfield, which was a suburb, small group, and then there was this group downtown. So the 3 groups merged, all ended up in Wauwatosa, and they decided that they're going to march toward the mall that this happened at, which is right on the edge of Wauwatosa. Wauwatosa touches Milwaukee, so they're going that direction. But the governor called in the National Guard because he did not want to have another situation like in Kenosha where the city was lit on fire, because I mean, sure, this is speculation, but I'm telling you, that's what would have fucking happened. So the guard was there, and the guard had this mall buttoned up tight. They had the entrances blocked with concrete cylinder blocks. They had a bunch of people stationed there, so these guys were like, fuck it, then I guess we're not going to the mall. And they are walking down a couple of the main thoroughfares through Wauwatosa. One street, they got rowdy and decided they're going to break windows. These windows of these small businesses, most of these were small businesses, not corporate chains even, definitely not big businesses, small businesses. Yeah, it's interesting, the corporate businesses are all across the street from this mall, Mayfair Mall. There's Best Buy, a couple of things. That's where there would have been a high probability of, say, looting, right? That's where there would have been a high probability of, say, fire. And that's where the National Guard were. But the Guard weren't anywhere protecting these small businesses. So those small businesses got their windows broken. And at one point they got to where the police station was. And the police were there in riot gear, and they went back and forth. The point where the police used tear gas and rubber bullets, which Milwaukee just outlawed the use of that. So I guess Tulsa's not, I guess that's not a county provision, that's just a city provision. Tulsa decided they were going to do that, so then they went into a residential neighborhood and did the same thing that we saw in Portland, where they just went after people that lived there without reason, without cause. But they went there, they broke a lot of windows, damaged some lawns, did a lot of driving on sidewalks, I noticed. I watched a bunch of live feeds, and that shit is fucking dangerous. And in between there, at some point, they looted a couple of places. Most notably was a gas station. They just tore that place apart. And they were actually trying to tear down the cashier cage, with this terrified cashier standing back there going, what the fuck am I going to do? But then the police came, so they left before they did that, not before they trashed the store and took a ton of merchandise out of there. But what I just found was a video, because it turns out that this 17-year-old guy that was killed, his mother and his sister were, and I'm sure other family members were, in this protest at the point where it was after dark, and they got arrested. And there was a long video of that, and I watched about half of it. I still have to watch the rest of it. I just wanted to mention that it looks like the mother's arm got broken, and they both got arrested. They have not released a clear reason why they did that, why they were arrested. At least the media has not portrayed it accurately. I don't know how to call the city and just ask them, so I'm going to have to wait until some more facts come out to tell you for sure. It's unclear whether they were initially being arrested because of curfew, or they had actually done something more. Because they arrested only a couple of people, and all the cities around here have been pretty tolerant of protest. That's a constant fucking sound. All the cities around here have been very tolerant of protest. They've, really not done anything to discourage it. Not actively. Because, firing rubber bullets and tear gas at protesters when they are coming at a line of police who are standing in front of the police station, and protesters are launching projectiles, regardless of what they are. They're launching projectiles at the cops. That's not going out of your way to shut down protest or even discourage protest, because the police weren't anywhere else. They certainly weren't along Watertown, Plank, Wisconsin, or North Avenue, where all these businesses were that these guys walked by. So just making that clear. Now, the mother got injured. I guess she got her arm broken. I watched about half this video, but the thing is, when they hit record, whichever family member this was that hit record, I think it was the mother, and then somebody else in the family rebroadcast this on Facebook. They put the phone down in the car, so all you can see is like the ceiling in the car. So you can't see anything that's happening, and you can't hear from this video when the cop first comes up and says why they're detaining him in the first place. So were they detaining him for a certain reason, then the detaining turned into an arrest, or were they immediately arresting him? We don't know. What was the reason? We don't know. But this video exists, so I'm going to link that. What's really more interesting is then, so this happened Wednesday night. What happened Thursday night? Well, there's the audio, which I'm going to link for you. Here is a little bit of video. Now, this is from the Daily Caller, so that's Richie McGinnis. Now, remember, Richie McGinnis was the same person who was in Kenosha, standing next to Joseph Rosenbaum when Kyle Rittenhouse defended himself and shot him when he was being attacked. Richie McGinnis, if I had to pick, a little more right-leaning. And, I mean, he's a good reporter. He brings a lot of material to the table. I'm just saying, if I had to guess, I'd say a little more right-leaning. And Richie McGinnis happened to be here at the moment that Alvin Cole's mother was getting arrested. Here's what happened. This is Richie recording us.
I press credentials. Yes, sir. I press credentials right here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Daily caller. Yes, sir. Daily caller right here. Yes, sir. Hey, he's pressed. He's pressed. Yes, sir. I have my credentials right here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Don't let me catch you.
I'm out. Well, I'm pressed. I have credentials. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On the ground. On the ground. Hold on. Hey,
That's Shelby Talcott also.
Turn this phone over right here.
Now, BG and Julio Rosas were there also on the day that the verdict was announced. That was Wednesday. What we just saw was Thursday. So here's Julio Rosas talking to Laura Ingraham. Let's check this out.
Now, I really need to show this disturbing video shot. Watch.
That's from Wednesday night when they were breaking windows in residential area.
Now, Julio, this is moving into the suburbs, is it not?
No, it absolutely is. And I know that there's kind of been a little bit of controversy of President Trump mentioning the suburbs and riots, but I can't say, I mean, I saw it. That
That's BG's footage on the
out
right.
of their way to attack that apartment complex. And I actually spoke to the owner of that apartment complex who said that the only person that was home that night was a 70-year-old woman. And she obviously woke up. She was screaming. She was crying. She couldn't stop shaking. And he had to take her to her sister's house because obviously she was no longer safe there. And so this is definitely, unfortunately, a disturbing trend that we're seeing, where it's no longer just centralized in a downtown metropolitan area. I mean, they've been caravanning from Milwaukee to Wauwatosa. And unfortunately, not only are businesses being targeted like they were last night, but they for whatever reason, decided to attack that apartment complex.
Also, for whatever reason, they decided to attack Richie McGinnis. Now, you know, maybe these cops don't watch Twitter fucking media, because these kind of people, Julio Rosas and fucking BG and Richie McGinnis and Shelby Talcott and Andy No, all right, although a lot of them are right-leaning, they're not all. Either way, these people are on the fucking ground, and these people are the ones that are bringing real footage. Every single network in the country. So this happens to be a Fox video, because Fox is going to give time to this kind of conversation with Julio Rosas, where CNN won't. But every time they want footage, CNN, NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, they get it from these guys. These guys are the new generation of fucking reporters. That's just how it is. So maybe these cops don't understand where all this riot footage comes from. Maybe they don't understand who Richie McGinnis is. I mean, he clearly said from the Daily Caller on Richie McGinnis, I mean, they should have fucking bought him an ice cream cone. Because he makes fucking cops look like they got a hard fucking job and these people are torturing them. Because that's usually what he sees. So these cops here, I can't believe what they did. But we're going to jump around to a couple of things. Just hold on. Pardon my ineptitude for preparing ill for this. BG got arrested too. Wow. And let's jump back to Wednesday night. This is a guy who if you did see Twitter at all, you saw there was a video of him arguing with protesters. But he was saying, you know, like, oh, we're on your side. Why are you doing this? And that he didn't look to me like he was really. And I also pointed out, whatever, he was saying that. And I also pointed out that he had a guy with a camera right next to him when he was talking to these three guys saying, you guys shouldn't be out here fucking with us because some of us support you. And I pointed out, yeah, and this dude didn't catch a beating because there was a camera right there. Because they ended up just walking away, but my opinion.
What if I were somebody different? I own a firearm. I own multiple firearms. I didn't come out here with a firearm. I saw a man in my grass, hundreds of people coming through. I would have been entitled through castle law to protect my house if I felt it was threatened. I came out here in a non-threatening manner, and I have to have people disrespectfully run up here, try to get a viral video, to try to sow division. That's all that does. Every time everyone runs up with a camera in your face, the conversation stops. That's why we're so divided. We can't even get to square one. I've got to have people here that look at me and mock me because I own a house, having no idea the struggle that I went through to get this house. How I haven't had a vacation in 14 years, so I could save up after having a bankruptcy, my wife having a bankruptcy, adopting a child that's special needs. Either they don't care about it, and the ends, whatever they do, the ends justify the means, and that's the problem. You cannot just have an ends justify all the means. You have to be able to talk to each other, and you got to have a starting point on both sides. We're not even, we're here.
So I have a bit more respect for him after seeing this, because the video before he looked a bit like he was just kowtowing to them. He represented himself better here. Now this again was Wednesday night. So now, just to get out of the way of confusion, I said that video we just watched was Wednesday. That was actually Wednesday night, so it technically would have been Thursday morning. So this video was Thursday during the day. This is a different person, resident of the neighborhood. Same guy, though, Julio Rosas.
And so you own this building?
Yes.
How many people live in these?
There's 4 people live in this building.
So they were occupied when this happened?
Yes, correct.
And
there was only one person that was home.
Okay.
She's a 70-year-old woman, and she was in her bedroom, and her front window got smashed.
What was her reaction to that?
She screamed. She started crying. She called me. By the time I got down here, because 91st Street was completely blocked up, she couldn't stop shaking. I ended up loading her into my vehicle and driving her to her sister's house in Grafton in hopes that she would get some rest, because I knew she wouldn't get any rest here overnight. All the other...
And
now there's a trend on Twitter that I've been seeing from the left, that when these guys, the guys that I just listed off, when they go to places and they document stuff, the left seems to jump on their videos and say this is all an exaggeration, this didn't happen. So here's an example of why these people are so important. So this one again is Julio Rosas. So here he is the next day with pictures of homes that were damaged. Now there were 2 4-family apartment buildings next to each other, and they busted a bunch of the windows out, and here's some of that. But if you go to Twitter and read, it says, oh, media is spreading this bullshit lies. There wasn't no property damage to homes. There was just a couple businesses with their windows broken. Well, that's not true. Now, are those people saying that because they don't know? Or are they saying that because they're trying to downplay it? I mean, how could you not know? If you saw the footage of any one part, it came from one of these people. So you would have seen all of it. There's always going to be other people streaming too, and their stuff might get retweeted. But I'm talking about the stuff that goes national quick. It's from these guys. Most of the left, when they stream stuff, they don't want that to go anywhere outside of their group. Or they shut the camera off before stuff like this happens. Again, this one's credit Julio Rosas, Town Hall Media. I'm not trying to take credit for anybody streaming. I actually went to Greenfield and I was going to do some reporting from there, but Greenfield ended up not being, they had so many police surrounding where this cop lives that nobody tried to do anything there. I went downtown and I started to do some streaming there. The reason I didn't show you guys any footage is because I got a minute or two of the courthouse, and then the protesters decided that they were going to walk on the freeway, and I simply was just, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to follow people on the freeway. I know how that ends. That ends with people getting arrested or people getting run over by a car. So I don't need to fucking go there to tell you what happened. In this case, fortunately, nobody got hit by a car. And then again, the reason that I didn't go to Wauwatosa was because it's just too liberal there. And I knew that should something happen, if I was in any way involved, in any way, I was going to get arrested. There's no way to be a patriot there and not get arrested. And as we could see from all the police reacting, there's no way to be a protester there. I guess, at least, I mean, I don't know. So here, this is from BG. I'll just read it to you real quick. Greetings, America. This is Thursday, October 8th, so later yesterday, sorry. I'm writing to you from Waukesha County Jail. That's interesting. I've been wrongfully arrested while covering the protests in Milwaukee and Tosa. Now, Tosa is in Milwaukee County, so I'm not sure how he was in Waukesha Jail. I was either the backseat of a vehicle, threatened with a taser immediately, and then tackled and dragged to the ground by multiple officers, all with absolutely no resistance. As I pleaded with them that I am press, I'm out here doing my job, they did not care. They pressed my body into a parking lot pavement, zip-tied my hands tightly behind my back, took me into a paddy wagon with a mix of protesters and press that were arrested. Some of the Daily Caller press, Richie and Shelby, were able to convince officers to let them go, others not so lucky. Oh, so they got convinced to let them go after they took a fucking beating, though. Eventually, they filled the prisoner transport vehicle with other protesters they brought over, then transported us to an undisclosed parking lot in Wauwatosa to wait. After about 30 minutes, another vehicle, this time a Waukesha County police van, picked us up from the first vehicle, then transported us to the jail. A few girls were alternating screaming at police, singing revolutionary songs, and banging on the sides of the van. They brought us to jail, stripped us down, and booted us. Here I am, BG. So that's interesting. If I wasn't clear before, if you couldn't tell in the video before, when they arrested Richie and Shelby, they were nowhere near the action anymore. They had already walked away, and you could hear those guys giving them a fucking beating. I'm confused. Hold on, let's see what else we got. So BG, remember I said Richie's more right-leaning? Well, BG's probably more left-leaning. So here is last night, before Alvin Cole's mother got arrested, I'm assuming. This is BG's footage.
We're trying to get justice for Alvin Cole.
That might be Jacob Blake's dad right there, actually.
District Attorney Chisholm didn't make the right decision. So basically, we got to do what we got to do. So I came out, even though I've been down and out because of the verdict, but I made it out.
I'm just going to take one moment and say, we got to do what we got to do means what? The thing that they were yelling outside the courthouse, if we don't get it, shut it down. We don't get it, burn it down. I mean, because there are other avenues that don't involve this kind of stuff. So I guess I'd like clarity on what that means. But whatever.
Today. I came out with the Blake family. They came out to show our support. I want to thank the People Revolution. First of all, I thank y'all so much. All the other protesters that's not with the People Revolution, I thank y'all again. Everyone, I thank you. I appreciate y'all putting y'all life in stake, y'all freedom in stake, y'all health in stake. But I thank y'all for showing us support and love. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Love y'all. We should be able to peacefully protest with all this nonsense. They want trouble here. And basically,
I mean, I agree with that, but I'm just going to say again, and I'm not the first person to say this, when do peaceful protests continue after dark? Have we yet to see a peaceful protest after dark? You're out there after dark giving a speech lecturing about peace, and I'm sure that if somebody were to ask you and you were to be forced to answer, well, what about the people breaking windows, looting stores? You would say, well, that's not me. I don't know who those people are. So obviously, you're gonna, if nothing else, you're gonna be waking people up. We have words, definitions have to fucking mean something.
Chisholm already made his decision a week ago because I see the National Guards are here, state troops are here, with full body gear ready to tear us down. But you know what? It's just gonna make us stronger.
I'm just gonna say again, what does that mean? National Guard are here to tear us down, because the Guard's not arresting you for protesting, the Guard's not charging you. So when you say National Guard's here to tear us down, essentially what you mean is we want to fucking do whatever we want, and they brought in people to stop us, at least at a certain level, like destroying the mall or burning part of the fucking city like what happened in Kenosha. I mean, I'm not sure how you can mean anything else. And I don't want to put words in Ms. Cole's mouth. I'm just saying it's hard to see anything else as to what that means.
It's gonna make us stronger. So we need to go through them, and they need to quit tear gassing us. We ain't tearing down nothing. We just need to go and be peacefully protesting.
Well, there it is.
You know, Wauwatosa need to do what's right.
We ain't tearing down nothing, so she's not part of the group that is, and she says that at the same time, though, they're going to continue to protest after dark, and all I could say is, how is that a good idea? This is BG's footage also. An undercover cop car gets outed by protesters.
Put the light up. Y'all can't answer. Put the light up. Wait. You finna hit her? You big town, right? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Now I'm going to say real quick is that for everybody out there that likes to point out how Seattle and Portland are full of a ton of white people and almost impossible to find a black person, around here, these protests, this is all BLM, and there are a lot of white people, but there are a lot of black people here too. So this crowd is probably more than half black. Just saying, as in contrast to Portland, where the crowd's like 5% black. So openly attacking an undercover car, though, I mean, any police car openly attacking and surrounding it like that, I mean, they would have been justified in using force to restrain them to try to arrest them. And any resistance would have been justified in them using more force. So I'm not going to say I'm praising the cops for issuing a restraint. I'm not saying that. But these guys, that's a serious risk that they took doing that right there. BG's footage appears to end around there. That's about the time he got arrested. That's dated about 18 hours ago, which at this point would have been a little bit before midnight. Anyways, this is Richie. What he says happened here is that a group of protesters had broken off and were about to do something, looked violent or volatile, and the police chased them and they basically rejoined the group. It doesn't specify how many people broke off. Were there 200 people and 10 broke off? Were there 200 people and 50 broke off? Or were there only 50 people and so context would help a little, I don't know. Kitty Shackelford is in Tacoma, Washington, and Drew Hernandez is in Seattle, so they're not going to have anything that they're not retweeting from those other guys. I have no context for this because I haven't heard of anything happening in Tacoma, Washington. I don't know why Kitty's there, but here is some footage from Tacoma, Washington just in the last hour.
Do not engage. Do not engage. Oh, they're going to.
because that's really relevant to the rest of what's happening there. Alright, well, that's a bunch of posturing, still fucking annoying. She posted that an hour ago, but apparently that was from yesterday in Tacoma. So here is something else Kitty posted, and I guess this is a screen grab. So this is, because I thought maybe she was here, because this is related to Milwaukee. This guy says something about Proud Boys. I just wanted to look at it. That group of guys you went to in West Dallas, and West Dallas is right next to Wauwatosa. We are a local truck group that deposited things for the community. One of our members' house was getting messed with, people shining lights, knocking on windows. We went there just to protect it. We were not trying to start any trouble. We are just there to protect the family. Also, we asked for you not to film us, and we thank you for that. Blah, blah, blah. I guess the point of that is outing a liberal who just automatically goes right to the phrase Proud Boys, because I guess that's now going to be synonymous with the racist label, where once you do something the left doesn't like, that's just what they're going to call you. This is interesting. So now Kitty posted something from Tosa 2 hours ago. So maybe she is there because this does not have any credit on it, so maybe she's here now. I mean, maybe with these other guys being arrested, there's a void. People standing outside a home to watch neighborhood deemed racist by Vaughn Mays, number 2 BLM leader in this city. He claims they say the N-word and calls him cracker ass honky as he harasses them. It was nice taking over y'all's town for a little bit. We'll be back. We like it over here. Now this is dark, and it's not dark yet, so I'm going to assume this was from last night. Let's see.
You didn't either.
You can't fuck with me at all.
This must be Vaughn.
Emotional. Look at you. Emotional.
He mad 'cause his dick little.
Emotional. You're emotional.
Looks like there's a black dude over there.
Pissing competition?
We didn't drive down here. We walked. Nah, no, you didn't.
Hey, we having a pissing competition, bro.
Cracker ass honky.
What's that?
I don't know what's. What you motherfucker talk about himself? What the fuck?
I want the definition of that. We having a little dick competition over there. He's mad. If I squeeze it, will it squeak?
Hey, you see where he stopped at in the road, though.
You see that, right?
These motherfuckers, he ain't stupid.
You see that,
That
right?
motherfucker got some type of smarts. Huh? Who waiting on me to do what?
Walk the show.
Oh.
Oh. All right, guys.
Hi, guys. It was nice taking over y'all. It was nice taking over y'all town for a little bit. We already did. We already did. We'll be back. We'll be back. We like it over here.
Yeah, Vaughn Mays likes to throw threats out there. Several instances of that on video. Well, that is what happened. So last night because I didn't hear about any destruction in Wauwatosa last night. So last night they ditched Tosa to go to Waukesha. That's where BG got arrested. That makes a lot more sense. I just told you before, Waukesha, just west of Wauwatosa, Waukesha City, and in the county of Waukesha, they're not going to be able to do this same behavior. So now I'm going to check and see. I'll check to see if Kitty has anything else, and I'll check and see what else happened in that city. All right, so I'm not sure where Kitty is. This is her most recent post. I'm just going to do like this, and you're going to have to pause it and read it. It's definitely interesting. It basically says the Seattle mayor's decided that the mural that she's decided to create is going to be uncensored so people can put fuck the police and other type of stuff on it. Another very important reporter, Elijah Schaefer, he's retweeting Richie McGinnis or Shelby Talcott here, but this is Wauwatosa. Just some driving on the sidewalks. Fucking dangerous. You know, they did that around here. Me and my kid are standing outside on the sidewalk and people are just flying up on the sidewalk. I mean, you easily kill somebody. Well, he posted this yesterday, but this is pretty interesting, you know, talking about going into residential, and this was from Wauwatosa. Michelle Obama called us racist for saying rioters are coming into the suburbs. But yeah, that's balls. Going to Waukesha is balls. I really want to find out about that, but it does not look like Elijah's in Wisconsin, so I don't know where he is. Hold on. All right, so here's somebody else's footage. Somebody I don't know whose footage was retweeted. This is a BG being arrested, but it does say it was on 77th and North or Wisconsin, something like that. So Milwaukee County. It was not in Waukesha. That's BG right there. Also claim that this is guard arresting him, not police. This chick's commentary, whoever this was, this lady that took that footage.
They told me to leave, but I don't know. We're with the media. We don't.
Pull into a lot. What we can't do is block. They can argue with us about blocking traffic.
Okay. All right, I'm following you.
She says that's a lady that works for WISN, so that's our local ABC affiliate. So the liberal ABC affiliate was the one that said that that was National Guard, and Elijah says definitely not Guard, local, so that would mean Tulsa Police. And if you haven't seen this one, this was like, I don't know, this is a smaller dude. I don't know if he's local or not, but he got a shot of these guys going after a resident in Tulsa just because he had an American flag. Doing a nice burner on his lawn. Andy No doesn't seem to be there either, but he did post this, and this is of note. Yelp is announcing it's going to put notices on businesses accused of, quote, racist behavior. Wow. One Antifa group responsible for organizing the violent protests in Portland is now compiling, I guess, their own personal list. Here Andy's at a, well, this is a retweet. This is Seattle. They're protesting Trader Joe's. I'm not sure what Trader Joe's did. I remember reading a while ago they were mad at them because they had something called like Mexican pizza, or Chinese rice, and that was apparently too racist, and they wanted to change the name of it. I don't know if this is that or if it's something else. The running joke on Andy No, by the way, is that he's actually, this is a joke that they tell about the left, that he's actually a ghost and they can never find him in any city because he's sneaky. They really fucking hate. Antifa really, really hates Andy No. One time they got a hold of him, they beat him up pretty good. They really hate him. New picture of Breonna Taylor just emerged. Uh-oh. That looks like an assault rifle. Armalite rifle. I guess that explains that. Apparently nothing happened really in Waukesha. Shelby does have some information on BG and Blair, and then there's a video here. Let's take a look at that.
Wisconsin is always an adventure, isn't it?
What's going on, everyone? Just got out of jail.
Wisconsin is always an adventure,
Well, they're out of jail. That's something. Yeah, it's weird. It just kind of fizzled out from last night. They must have really just had a heavy law enforcement presence, so nothing could happen. That's Richie. So now tonight I got to face the decision on whether or not I'm actually going to go there and get some footage, or I'm just going to keep watching, because, you know, I always like going. But man, I said this is going to be like Kenosha, and it is. I mean, the guard is the only thing that slowed it down. So this is just going to get a lot worse. They're at the point where they're arresting people like Richie and Shelby. I mean, they're shooting themselves in the foot. So I just, you know, you got to understand, you know, cops are fucking getting tired of this. You know, citizens are getting tired of this. And I know that that's the goal. The goal is to wear down the police so they make mistakes, so they can be captured on video, whether they're edited to make them look like the police were completely at fault, or whether the police actually are in that situation completely at fault due to being exhausted. But, you know, they're going to get what they want. It's just not going to end the way they think. And I said that, you know, the people aren't going to do very much in Wauwatosa because it's a liberal area, and also because it's in Milwaukee County, and that's true, but that doesn't mean that there aren't people who want to do something in that area. That just means they're afraid to, because they're afraid of prosecution. But they'll get to a point where prosecution isn't going to fucking matter, because what they're seeing around them is too violent. It's kind of interesting. One of the many people who out there who do, Trump substitute tweeting, if you've ever seen them, it blasted Wauwatosa for arresting BG. So this is a black-owned business. Yeah, I'd have to agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, this really kind of just exemplifies what I was talking about with the media. Never mind those 2 nights of Wauwatosa riots, local media is here to tell you it's going to be super windy. And that is exactly the kind of garbage media that we have around here, which is why social media reporters are the next generation, the next real fucking thing.
If you listen to Michelle Obama's impassioned 24-minute-long video message this week, you know it's not an easy time to be a rich lady living in a $12 million oceanside estate on Martha's Vineyard right now. No, it's not. America is racist, Michelle Obama told us. In fact, it's so bad that white supremacists are out there on the streets wrecking businesses almost every night. Some of them are stealthy. They even have BLM tattoos and want to abolish the police. It's all a cover, though. Michelle Obama assures us this is the radical right. As if we needed more evidence of that, last night in suburban Wisconsin, these same white supremacists struck again. Just like we saw in Portland and Kenosha and Minneapolis, they were disguised as Joe Biden voters. They threw rocks into people's living rooms and attacked the police. Things got so bad that authorities wanted the National Guard to set up a protective perimeter around City Hall. Just to show you how terrifyingly true Michelle Obama's warning was, we have butted her statements side by side with footage from last night near Milwaukee. Watch this.
And they're pinning it all on what's been an overwhelmingly peaceful movement for racial solidarity. Only a tiny fraction of demonstrations have had any violence at all. So what the president is doing is once again patently false. It's morally wrong, and yes, it is racist.
Ooh, patently false, morally wrong, and yes, racist. Well, you wouldn't want to be that. We don't want to disappoint Michelle Obama, but we do want to give you some details on the rioting we just showed you video of. It happens practically every day in America, but we just want to target this one specific outbreak of it. So prosecutors announced yesterday they were not going to charge a police officer in the shooting death of a 17-year-old African-American man called Alvin Cole. Prosecutors said that Cole had fired a shot with a stolen handgun. When he did that, the police officer, who, by the way, is also black, returned fire. Based on all the evidence, the judicial process worked its way through and no charges were brought. That's the way it's supposed to work, but nobody cares about the facts because a long time ago, rich partisans like Michelle Obama told them that facts don't matter. And we're only now starting to see the consequences.
I remember Von Mays also went to Officer Mensa's house and was one of the people that was there when he got shot at. This is a black cop, by the way. It doesn't matter if you're watching Tucker's video or you're watching this footage live, when you just don't want to hear the fucking issue, you just don't want to hear the issue. Because according to that lady, apparently since white supremacists do exist, anyways, this one here is really good. I live here. No one even knew about the decision until the guard, well, I don't believe that. So the guard was called in to stir up tensions. Now, whose fault is that? Disgusting the length Trump's law and order will go to. Tulsa residents can thank the United States government for going to war on its own citizens. Yeah, well, that was Democrat Governor Evers' idea. These people are saying that they have no right to talk about these riots in Wauwatosa because these guys were just arrested. Well, there's one of the accused kidnappers. There's a picture of him. And for what it's worth, he has huge gauge earrings and an anarchy flag. So looks a lot more like Antifa, this one guy in this picture, than a white supremacist. All right, I don't know why there's dead silence in the second half of the night last night. It's just the last thing I'm going to say, and then that's it, is that the Democrat representative from Wauwatosa made a statement about don't do anything violent, but didn't say anything directly about the rioters, and made no support for law enforcement. And I just wanted to remind you about this support for law enforcement. They're turning on people they shouldn't be turning on, as well as losing their patience with the people who are actually protesting. So this has been the goal the whole time. Everybody out there, be careful. You know, if you're out there protesting, you know, I'd ask you to think about it, but I feel like that's going to go to deaf ears. Everybody else, please be careful.